Ladies and lentil beans, today is July 8, 2013, and this is the KNKL Daily number 73. I'm your host, Keenan Lafferty, returning to you after a lovely weekend of Nerdtacular. For those of you who don't know what that is the annual NerdCon put on by Scott Johnson, the amazing online comic artist and good friend of mine and mentor, idol, whatever you want to call it. I look up to this guy so much, and I'm so happy that I was able to go participate. That's where I was these last weeks, and that's why there was no streams during the last week. I already tried to do this once, but I completely messed up the sound. So this is take 2! And we are going to be jumping into Emma Monday. We are going to be working on the comic as usual. And yeah, before we get into that, just wanted to say thank you to this month's new subscriber, the lovely Francine. Thank you very, very much for your donation. Every little bit helps. If you'd like to get your name on the show, simply visit the link down below if you're watching this on YouTube and donate as little or as much as you want, and I'll feature your name throughout the month. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get this thing started. Let's jump on into this. For those of you who may have not noticed, actually, it'd be impossible to miss, I got a haircut! How crazy is that? Oh my gosh, my head can actually breathe, and I will not sweat just by simply sitting anymore. I will not work up a back river, an old man river down my back, and then freaking have me stick to the chair at the end of the show. It's disgusting. And probably a little bit TMI. But here on the KNKL show, we like to be personal. We like to be personable. And all that jazz. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and jump in. We're going to be finishing page 21 today. Yeah! Yeah! So let's go ahead and get into that. So I trust that you guys had a great weekend by yourselves, and I hope that you guys had a great week without me. I did miss you guys, and I'm very, very happy to be back in action. So let's see, what's the first thing that I want to do today? Actually, I want to paint this house. Let's paint this house, shall we? I'm going to start by just combining all of these background elements. We're going to combine all of these background elements into one. Whoa, that didn't go as planned. Let's try that again. That's more like it. Alright, so we got, what do we got going on here? We've got all of these panels, and then this panel has its own thing because it's behind. Brilliant. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with this one since it is our top layer, and we're going to go ahead and jump into that right now. And I'll show you guys a little bit more of my process with painting the backgrounds and how easy it is and how you can do it at home. So let's go ahead and pull up our reference because, for those of you who tuned in last week, we were working on these zombies over here. And I was introducing like some blues into the sky, and it looks really, really nice when you're working with like a limited color palette to introduce some of the complementary colors, such as these clouds, right? And they look very, very blue, but when you select them and take a look at the color for yourself, it's actually not blue at all. It's actually more of like a desaturated, grayed out magenta. But that works just fine. And your eyes perceive it as blue because it is color relativity. Brilliant. No? Brilliant. Alright, so let's go ahead and introduce a little bit more of these reds and blues into this. And let's actually lock the layer so that way we don't paint outside of it. That would be a tragedy. Travesty. Whatever the difference between those two words are. I have no idea, but let's go ahead and continue with that. So yeah, well, let me talk a little bit about the experience that I had at Nerdtacular. It was really, really awesome, to say the least. It was very, very eye-opening. There were tons of awesome panelists and just great panels. I was working the merch store most of the time, selling these awesome shirts and tons of other shirts, you know, along the way. And I was also selling. I was in charge of the booth for this band called the Andrew Allen Trio, which is basically, they're like a jazz band, but they create their music, it's like inspired, their latest album is like inspired off of old school Nintendo games. So it's like Metroid, Super Mario Brothers, Legend of Zelda, Metroid, oh I said Metroid, but you know what I'm saying. Just all those awesome things. There's Katamari in there, some newer things. But yeah, it was really, really cool. And I was selling their CDs, and I was selling their merch, slinging their merch, and it was a lot of fun. And I picked up myself a nice little CD. I'll actually probably be playing that tomorrow so you guys can listen to it. because it is very good and you guys deserve to be wowed by that. So I was doing that, selling shirts, and it was just really cool to see everybody kind of come together. I'm kind of a convention noob. I haven't gone to many conventions in my life, so any chance that I get to have some more experience and add that under my belt for the time where I will actually be have my own booth at a convention, or I'll be hosting my own convention in the very, very distant future. You know, it's out there. It's out there. We just got to catch up to it. When that time comes, we'll be ready. We'll be ready. So I had a really good time, and the band members would, stop by every few minutes and be like, "Hey, how's everything going? How's everything going?" And they seemed really, really happy with me just being willing to kind of volunteer and help them out, help them sell their stuff, and they're really, really nice guys. So yeah, and if you guys want to check them out, yeah, they're called the Andrew Allen Trio. And like I said, I'll be playing some of their music probably tomorrow during the pre-show. I would have played it today, but we were doing some family stuff earlier, and we were fixing some bikes so that we can go riding as a family, down the park. It'll be super cute, and just like in the commercials. And if they have commercials of that. Anyway, so I was doing that, and totally forgot the time. So yeah, I rushed up here and basically jumped right on and got started. For those of you who saw the pre-show, you have seen I even forgot to change my shirt, and I had a nice sleeveless shirt on, and when I did this, you got a glimpse of my total lack of underarm hair, my total lack of manly armpit hair. I was not well endowed in the armpit hair section, unfortunately, at birth. It was a birth defect. So yes, consequently, it looks like I shaved my arms, but I do not. But hey, it'll come in handy when I decide to take up bodybuilding for my next career. That'll be really nice. All right, so I'm liking all this stuff. Let's go ahead and get in on this over here. And I really hope when I was working on that, sky, my face wasn't covering up that entire thing. I think it was. Oh dear! All right, we'll check that out later. All right. Alright, let's go. Let's go. Oh, by the way, yeah, some people are talking about going to Comic-Con over here. Leshy's talking about going to Comic-Con. Bunch of new booths for upcoming comics, and I was actually handing out these posters. I was handing out prints and posters to people at the convention, and I was signing them and all this stuff, and it was really, really cool. So that was a lot of fun. Had a very, very good time. And I'll try my best not to cover up what I'm working on with my fat face. Really, really hope I wasn't covering that up. If I go back and watch this footage and I was covering that up, I am literally going to die. I'm going to die for such treachery as that. And yeah, it's basically what I deserve. I get what I deserve. Alright, let's zoom in nice and close. Let's get some detail. Get some detail on this house. Oh yeah. There you go. And basically me detailing stuff is just me cleaning up edges. That's all I'm doing. I'm cleaning up edges. Make it look fancy, but I'm actually just taking the colors of what was existing there before, and I'm making them hard edges. Hard edges. Yeah. And you got to do it like that. Otherwise it doesn't work. Alright. So let's continue here. Whoa. Oh, there were some great costumes, great cosplay at the Nerdtacular as well. Awesome, awesome cosplay. There was these people that dressed up as all 4 of the characters from Borderlands 2, and they did a really, really good job. Actually, I think it was 3 of them. It was 3 of the 4 characters from Borderlands, and the original release, obviously. I know there's not Krieg, or Krieg was not one of the originals. Yeah, there was even a guy dressed as Sir Hammerlock, and it was pretty freaking sweet. And yeah, it was just a very, very inspiring time. And they had bands playing, they had magician acts. I mean, they had all kinds of cool stuff. For those of you who watch Scam School, that guy, I think his name Brian Brushwood, he was the entertainer there. He was the magician, if you will. And he was very, very cool. First, when I saw his stuff, I was like, it's kind of cheesy. But seeing him in real life, I'm like, man, that's actually really cool and fun. And he puts on a great show. So for your next birthday or whatever, I'd highly recommend you guys contact him and shell out the dough. It'll excite your kids, especially the trick where he actually skewers his own tongue. He like puts one of those shish kebab things like right straight through his tongue, and then he cuts it off and then hands it to you. It's pretty freaking sweet. Yeah, definitely stuff. Fun for all ages, especially kids. Kids will love that stuff. Especially kids of today. They like all those violent video games and all that good stuff. Speaking of violent video games, really been enjoying The Last of Us. I've actually been playing even more of that. At first I was like, nope, I'm not getting into it. Nope. But I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to say no. It's tough to say no to not only a great single-player game, but an amazing multiplayer experience that focuses on teamwork and actually staying alive for a change. How about that? So, yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with that, guys. And, yeah, in fact, after this, I think that's exactly what I'm going to go do. I think I'm going to go play some more T-Lao Factions, because I think that's what everybody's going to start calling it, right? T-Lao. Dude, I'm going to go play some T-Lao. Yeah. It's not The Last of Us, no. Gamers always abbreviate whenever possible. That's one thing I've learned. After reading the new book, where's the book I'm reading? Ah, right here. Game Boys! You guys gotta go check out this! For any of you who are curious about professional gaming and what life of a person who plays video games for a living is like, definitely check out this book. This is revolves around a couple teams kind of competing over a game called Counter-Strike, if you guys remember that one. I don't know, that might be before your time, but we're not talking about CSGO, we're talking about Counter-Strike 1.6, the super, super old one. And yeah, this follows the story of the epic competition between these two teams, and one's challenged to rise above the other. And I'm actually really, really enjoying it. I've only gotten about maybe like 100 pages into it, but it is a good book. It is a very good book. And I just found it funny how the author points out silly things like, oh yeah, they always, gamers will always abbreviate things whenever possible, you know. And yeah, it's very true, especially in Counter-Strike. You gotta save that time, man. You gotta save it. Save it. Care for it. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue with this. Continuing. Let's really trash this house. Oh, speaking of The Last of Us, though, like, I said this before, but man, playing that game really made me want to step up my environments. Not necessarily, I mean, my environments are okay, but it's like those environments, so amazing. Like the lighting and the color choices and everything is just like so good. So I'm definitely going to be taking that, plucking that, and placing it into MLD Online comic for sure, as best as I can without taking 10 hours to draw, you know, a single piece of concept art. But for those of you who have not seen some of that stuff, please look it up online. Look up some of the Last of Us concept art, and you will see some amazing paintings of just like post-apocalyptic, you know, buildings and cities. And I really like how they kind of like flood the streets. They'll take like these old streets and they'll do kind of the I Am Legend thing where they'll have the plants growing up from the street, but then they take it kind of a step further and it's like, oh hey, all this whole area is just like flooded now with like water, and it's just like these old vehicles just like covered in moss and grass and water, and it looks really, really cool. I'm surprised nobody's ever done it before. I'm sure it's probably been done somewhere, but not quite like that game has done it. And needless to say, I was impressed. I was wowed. Not World of Warcrafting. No, I don't play that anymore. I do not play that anymore. Alright, wow, I can actually shut up now. That's great. Alright, well, I'm actually going to start working a little bit now. Let's go ahead and just like throw in these details. Yeah. Don't want to get too much detail in here. You don't need to worry too much about it. Just a little. Just enough. Just enough so you know what's going on, and then no more! But yeah, things have been good. It was actually really nice taking a little bit of a break from the show and then coming back, because it just kind of, it gave me some time to think about things, you know? It's like, what am I really trying to, because as of late, it sounds kind of funny to say this, but I just feel like I haven't been doing my job with the show, you know what I mean? I've been feeling like it just isn't good enough, or it just sucks, you know? I just feel like the show sucks. But regardless, like, and I really had to take some time to think about this. And then it dawned on me the fact of, it's like, well, hey, it's like, I think really I'm just overanalyzing it. I really think that I'm overanalyzing everything, And I think that me worrying about what the show should be is the only thing that's actually making it any worse. And the best thing that I can do to keep the quality of the show up is just to continue doing what I love and just kind of like strive for that confidence, because a big thing that's been coming up lately is just like my lack of confidence in my skills to make the comic, you know? And it sounds so funny to say that, you know, because it's like I started this thing, I've been doing okay till now. It's like the worst that could happen is it's just the same as before, you know? It's not like, oh, it's just going to take this huge nosedive from here on out and it's just going to be terrible. No, it just, that doesn't make sense. You know, law of averages in its own would say that, you know, that's just not going to happen. You know, some pages might not be as good as other ones, but maybe that's because I'm doing a completely new subject matter, or I'm showing a whole new set of actions that I've never done, or trying to tell a story visually that I never have done before. So, you know, things like that will have some adjustment times. But unless I go through that, I'm never going to get any better. So it's pointless getting worried about it. Man, that's shaping up really nice. See what that does? You just kind of carve out those little edges right there, and then voila, you have clean house that looks like you took hours and hours to paint, but it actually didn't take too long. Just messing around with values. And really I could come in here and be like, oh, well, I really need to like make sure all this detail is, you know, like there's like 3 posts here and there's 2 here, so I need to make sure I get all that right. But look, it's like when you guys are reading this comic, it's going to be this size. And you're not going to look there and be like, excuse me, there are supposed to be 3 posts to the left of the door and 2 on the right. You know, you're not going to do that. You're just going to be like, that's a house, there's some things, and then you're going to move on to the next thing. You know, you're literally looking at that for probably like 1 second or half a second. So it's pointless to kind of nitpick over those little tiny things at this point. All it's about is, hey, the framework is there. You know what it is. You know where it's supposed to be. You don't have to worry too much about all those little details. Let's not forget that water thing, though, because that's something that will not be forgiven. Water thingy in one scene, not in the next. Terrible. A travesty. I want to figure out how to use that word properly. But for now, I don't. So I'm just shooting in the dark. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look it up after the show. You're like, what is the difference between travesty and tragedy? Or if someone in the chat would be so kind as to tell me that, that'd be really sweet. But if not, I will educate myself as I have done in the past. Alright, so let's go ahead and just continue. Finish this up. Let's finish up these values here. It's looking good. Looking very good. Very nice. Yeah, but today's been such a good day. Another thing that's really been kind of getting me in a good mood lately is just the fact that I've been sleeping more, right? I'm sleeping when normal humans sleep. And contrary to popular belief, this actually makes you have more energy throughout the day, and it actually tends to make you a bit happier. So I've really been enjoying that fact as of late. And I don't see it stopping anytime soon. But yeah, I just feel like I'm getting my feet back on the ground. You know, I don't want to talk too much, because it's like you talk too much and then, you know, you fall back into it, right? The pressure, you give into the pressure. But just a little bit, right? Just a little news, just a little news. I feel like I'm getting my feet back on the ground, and I'm feeling good. Feeling really good. Oh, and the other thing that I realized was with the comic is I've been stressing out so much about the fact that this thing has been taking so long to do, right? And I need to get to a point where, like, I had to literally tell myself, it's like, it does not matter how long it's taken me to get to this point. What matters is that I just pick it up from here, right? I just pick it up and start the habits from here. And the habits that I need to be in are, I'm working on this for 8 hours a day, right? This is my job now. I need to be working on this for 8 hours a day. How can I expect to be making a living, a full-time living off of this, if I'm not putting in a full-time, you know, the hours of a full-time job? You know, it just seems silly for me to worry about, oh no, it's not coming out fast enough, and oh no, is the business going to work, when I'm not putting in the hours that I would during a business. And I mean, I like the idea of having a schedule, but at the same time, I like being in control, right? And I like the fact that, you know, this 26-34 rule, you guys have heard me talk about this so many times, Really trying to just dial that in and be like, okay, look, 26 minutes, I am working. 36 minutes, I am resting, doing stretches, and then I'm just thinking, right? I'm just thinking, trying my best not to think about the comic, but it kind of happens anyway. And what happens is I just get these insights, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's totally what I need to do. This is how I can make this part more efficient. This is how, I just refocus my mind, and it really, really helps out. So yeah, that's been going really, really well like that. And yeah, 26-34 rule, that's where it's at. That's where it's at. And I'm going to continue doing that. And what else was I going to say? Oh, again, I love how I'm working on this stuff, and you guys can't even see it. Oh, man. Oh, okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Good thing I'm just flapping my gums today. That way you guys actually have something to listen to. I just drew some trees. I don't know if you guys really care about that. All right. Doing my best to watch over here. All right. All right. Oh, hey, you guys got travesty over here. Travesty is a false, absurd, or distorted representation of something. Ah. So it's like a lie. You lie about something. You describe something and it's a lie. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, and then tragedy is a negative happenstance, right? Right? That's the exact definition on dictionary.com. I bet you. I bet you. Just that simple. A negative happenstance. All right, you guys can actually see what I'm working on. That's great. That's great. Makes me so happy. But yeah, to sum up everything, like just taking these few days off, right, at NerdCon or Nerdtacular. I'm going to keep calling it NerdCon. That'll be mine. Mine will be called NerdCon. And EmmaCon, NerdCon, KNKL whatever. And just these few days have really just allowed me to kind of sync back up and realize that, you know what, if I'm going to make this work, I need to be putting in full-time hours. That's just the way it has to go. And the full-time hours can be anything. Full-time hours can mean, hey, doing research on, how I can do like this little animated thing, or looking into people who could possibly do voice acting, and just like crazy ideas like a theme song. Those can be considered, part of the work too. But for right now, I feel like I've done a good amount of that. And that all kind of comes down to inspiration as well. I believe I work heavily off of inspiration. And sometimes I'll be in the middle of something, and then all of a sudden I'll just get this thought, this inspiration to just go do something. And if I don't act on it right then, it will leave me. The thought or whatever I had, it will be gone the next time I'm looking for it, right? So that's why it's important for me to listen to whatever inspires me, or whatever inspiratory thoughts come to me. So, but yeah, I'm feeling good. I think the biggest thing that I realize is that I just need to be trusting in myself more. I really need to be trusting in myself and just going for it, because it's really not going to come out worse than it has up until now. It's just not. It's not going to happen. The worst that's going to happen is it's going to be just as good as it always has been, And I need to just be okay with that. I need to just be okay with that. I need to shut up and just go to work. And yeah, it's been really working out pretty well, especially with the 26-34 rule. It's so easy to just sit down for 26 minutes, work, and then 34 minutes comes up and it's like, all right, it's time for a break. I can relax. Ideally, I want to get good at like walking away from the computer, because I feel like there's like these radio waves or just something that emanates off of the computer and out of it, like the radiation. It just seems like you need to give your brain a little bit of a rest from that every now and then. And so every chance I get, I'll actually get up and move away from the computer. And so far that's been helping out quite a bit. What the heck is going on with this? Alright, this needs to be more yellowy. Yes, it needs to be more yellow. Might be spending a little bit too much time on this panel. Let's go ahead and just move on. Moving on. Moving on. Yeah, but that's looking good. Just cleaning those things up. Looking good. Just taking the colors that we had there before and just adding to it. But and the other thing, which is like worrying about the show, and we're going to be talking about this on Thoughtful Thursday. Mark my words. Just this feeling of, the best thing, like this feeling of, oh, the show's just not good anymore. It's just like it's not as funny as it used to be, and it's not as natural as it used to be, right? And I would find myself throughout the day just like constantly looking at the clock and be like, oh no, I got to do my show now. Oh, I got to do my show, and like 4 hours would be 4 hours until my show would come up, and I'd be like, oh no, I only got 4 hours until I have to do my show. What am I going to talk about today? Oh no, it's Tutorial Tuesday. I don't even know what I'm going to teach anybody. And I'm worrying about all this stupid stuff, and the solution is so simple, right? The solution for not having anything to teach on Tuesday was to literally take 2 minutes and just write down a list of everything that I would want to teach, right? And I was like, wow, that was easy. But why did I take that long to write it down? Anyway, that's all stuff for Thoughtful Thursday. And I don't want to use up all the material for then. But yeah, this will just kind of prep you for it. It will be a teaser, if you will. In other news, I saw Hook for the first time. That was pretty sweet. I enjoyed Hook. I've never seen it before. With Robin Williams. Very beautiful movie, and I really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. Tinkerbell was pretty hot. Julia Roberts, in her young age. Yeah. I'd let her make out with me. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Anyway, yeah. Again, I guess I'll just shut up. So I'll just shut the heck up and draw some stuff. And you guys can actually see what I'm working on, so that's good. Alright, just cleaning up edges. Cleaning edges. Cleaning edges. Cleaning Keenan. Watch me go. Cleaning Keenan. That's my fallback business, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about. In case the comic doesn't work, I'm just going to start cleaning people's houses, and I will be known as Cleanin' Keenan. I think it's good. In fact, I might just do it anyway. My off time. Yeah! Boom, baby! Oh. Not so much boom, baby. Baby boomers. Yeah, let's get a little of that in there. A little bit of this. Ooh, reflected light. Look at that. Brilliant! Brilliant reflections. Alright, I feel like I'm putting too much detail into this grass already. I don't like detail. I don't like drawing grass. I don't like drawing leaves. Not too much enjoyment to be had in that, but it is a means to the end. Justify the means. Oh, that looks kind of nice. I actually like that little bit of texture that's happening within there. But, yeah, guys. Definitely going to be looking into... Again, I don't want to talk too much about this whole, like, oh, I'm redefining my life. I'm setting schedules and all this stuff. I don't want to talk too much about it because as you do that, it has a tendency to kind of deflate whatever it is you have set out. And I'm thinking because you like set up this expectation and then you kind of have like this pressure. And so yeah, we're not going to get into that too much. But yeah, what you have heard is basically what's about to happen. And I will say no more. Literally, I'm not talking for the rest of the show. I'm done. Done with you guys. Sick of you. Just kidding. But seriously, I will shut up for a second. Lovely. Oh. Cool. Look at that. Yeah, get some nice tall grass in there. This grass has been growing for 10 years. Nobody's come to trim it. That was the biggest thing I noticed, like within the Last of Us art, all their grass is so long. So that's one thing we can do pretty easily. We can make big grass. Big grass coming up. Hey, that looks really good. Look at that. See? You take that right there. And you do a little bit of paint over, and voila! You have clean edges. And it looks professional. Even though you just did a couple tricks. Flick of the wrist. And you have clean lines. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this. Ooh, that looks nice. Looks really nice. Yes. Probably go for about another 10 minutes and then we'll wrap it up. Yeah. If you guys have any questions, question catapults are open right now. Please cast them over the castle walls and I'll answer anything you have. For those of you watching live, not for you on YouTube. No, that doesn't work that way. You can leave a comment below, but no guarantee I'll see it. No guarantees. I try my best not to look back, but always look forward. That sounded cheesy. That sounded really cheesy. Alright, shutting up. Nice! Okay, I kind of want to soften these shadows a little bit, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's soften these shadows. There we go. Yeah, that's what I was looking for right there. Right there. Cool! And let's go ahead and soften these shadows too. Yes. Oh yeah, that's great. I like to take pride in my work because, as you know, I know what I'm doing. I've always known what I'm doing, and I don't know why I ever doubted myself. And you should feel the same way about your stuff. You are exactly as good as you should be at this moment. Right? You're exactly as good as you should be and as you have been. And you're always improving, as long as you are trying to improve. Alright, let's put some little texture in there. Yeah! A little bit of that dust flying up. Oh, that looks nice. Ooh, nice. And let's get a little bit more light in these areas. But yeah, you guys can see it. There's a little bit of care. There's a little bit of love that goes into making these backgrounds. Quite a bit, I would say. And I do it because of my love for you guys, for the love of this project, and for the love of all that is holy. But, yes, let's go ahead and paint these things in. Brilliant. And, yeah. Alright, so this thing is shaping up quite nicely. I should put this thing down there like that. Shaping up quite nicely. Let's go ahead and take a closer look. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to these bushes, and yeah, let's finish up. I didn't think we'd spend the whole time painting the background, but it's amazing how much time these things take. Sometimes. Not all backgrounds are like this, but like for the first, this is what you call the establishing shot. So I usually tend to put a little bit more detail into these shots where you're first just like realizing where like something is changing or the scene is changing. You're setting a scene, right? I like to put a lot of detail into these parts. That way people will be like, ooh, hey, nice. And then the rest of these ones, like down here, you can get away with much less detail because now you know, now your reader knows where you are and they can fill in the blanks. You see where I'm going with this? It's very, very good. Very important. Use the reader's imagination to your advantage. I like to do that. Because the other reason, like, it's not just because you're lazy, but actually the reader's imagination will always see it as they need to see it, right? You could argue that it's perfect. The reader will always see it as perfect when you let their imagination fill it in. So yes, use that to your advantage, peoples! That works out for any of you, I want to know. I want to know. Be like, Keenan, I totally did that thing. I just took a piece of blank paper and I just put it out and people said it was the best drawing I've ever done. because they let their imaginations fill in. And I told them that, and they're like, that is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. The message that we should use our minds, we should use our imagination. It's so beautiful. So yeah, go ahead and go out and do that. If you're doing an art project, it's always an easy way to just get the assignment done, and you don't have to do much. But yeah, let me know if that works out for any of you. Or if they take that blank piece of paper, your teacher takes that big blank piece of paper and just writes a fat F on it. You're like, this is what I imagine. What do you think? What do you think? Just imagine a fat F on this picture, and there it is. Oh man, that'd be pretty bad. If I was an art teacher, I'd probably do that. I would totally do that. I'd be a wiener like that. Yeah, sorry. I'd be one of those teachers. Oh! That was not meant to happen. Alright, let's put some little details in there. That looks like crap. We're getting rid of that. A little bit of detail down here. Ooh, nice. Looking good. Good. You can watch me with my mouth agape at my own work. Because that is how I work. Not because I'm amazed. That's just, I'm retarded or something. When I'm really into it, I just zone. And I'm just like, oh yeah. Good. How you guys feel about that? Huh? Looking good to me. Looking good to me. Alright. Got some awesome comments and questions coming in here. Captain Big Butt says, Emma's vision is a travesty. Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Yes. That's exactly what it is. Emma Vision is a travesty of the actual world. Alright, let's see. Pickled Child is asking, how old is Emma? And this is a common question. This is a very, very common question. In fact, this is the most frequently asked question that I ever get about Emma. They take one look at her and be like, how old is she? And I don't know if I actually want to disclose that information because there are some things in the story that if I were to give away her age might give away something later. I don't know. Like, I don't want to talk too much about it, but let me just say this. Looks can be deceiving. I'll just say that. But yes, I can't give away her actual age. But you will find out soon. You'll find out soon enough how old Emma really is. Alright, anyway, yeah, feeling pretty good about that. Alright, let's go ahead and put some, a little bit of shading back on these bike dudes because I want them to pop out a little bit more. So let's go ahead and work with that. Where is our mask that allows us to do that? There it is! Alright, let's go ahead and do some soft shading. Beautiful soft shading. And let's actually darken this thing, man. Let's darken this thing. Darken the heck out of this. Yeah, yeah. Alright. Okay. Oh! Looks good. Looks really good. Let's make that nice and dark. Make that nice and dark. Big Butt is saying he wrote a comment for me on one of the videos, so I'll have to check that out later. But I don't do that on the show. But I will do my best to check that out later. No guarantees, though, because I rarely check the actual YouTube videos. I skim them. I skim them from time to time. That's about it. What is going on with this thing here? What am I doing? What am I doing? Do I want to do it more like this, where it's more like a silhouette? I really don't know what I want to do here. Shoot. Possibly could have made these guys on a separate layer. Oh, that actually looks nice. Ugh, the values on that are not good. The values are kind of blending in for some reason. I'm going to have to try that out later. I'm going to have to fix that up later. Or the other thing that I could do, possibly, is make them all bright. Make this a little bit brighter. Oh, that helps. Yeah, so now the values of the lines are coming through a little bit better. That's helping, for sure. I'll probably make the edges of these bikers a little bit brighter, too. Okay. Oh, yeah. Looks good. Let's go ahead and put some subsurface scattering on that flag there. Brilliant. Actually, I'll keep it kind of dark. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Looks pretty dang good. Put some darkness on those wheels. Liking that. It's feeling pretty dang good. Last thing I will do is I'm just going to kind of clean up these edges really quick. And did I put the background bikers, did I give them their own lines? No, I didn't, because I'm brilliant like that. Alright, that's something I'm going to deal with later. For now, I'm just going to clean up these edges so you guys don't have to sit here and watch me do that. Because that would be a pain in the royal backside. And, ooh, this background needs a little bit more of that. A little bit more of that in there. Yeah, that's good. Good. Alrighty, peoples, and with that, we're going to go ahead and call it a wrap. Save it out. We are done. Let's go ahead and load up epic outro music. Alright, people, so thank you for joining me once again. Thank you for returning to the collective KNKL community. I like that, collective KNKL community. Although don't abbreviate that with, never mind. Don't abbreviate it with all K's in the front, because that's very bad. We don't want none of that. We're gonna go ahead and call that show good. I need to load up this thing. Where is the freaking playlist? There we go. Alrighty, people. So thank you once again for joining me live on Ustream. Thank you for your comments and questions as usual. People on YouTube, thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't. My name is Kim Lafferty. I'll see you guys tomorrow for Tutorial Tuesday. We're gonna have a lot of fun. Till then, you guys take care.